going on, Straight Talk faithful? Your host, your boy, George Mackay, back in studio again, pre-recorded, and man, oh man, is today a good one. Today I have with me via Skype the current, reigning, defending NWA World Women's Champion, Thunder Rosa. Welcome to Straight Talk Wrestling. How are you?
I am absolutely great. I'm actually texting Nikki Cross, congratulating her for winning the championships.
Yes. I know that is on right now. I haven't, I've kind of got it in the background playing, but I'm focusing on the interview with you. That's incredible. I can't believe that they won the tag team titles. I think that's very well deserved. 100%.
Yeah, from everybody that I know from WWE, I know Nikki Storm or Nikki Cross more than a lot of people. And every time I see her succeed, or like I see her figure at the wrestling shop here in San Antonio, it's like it feels so good because she's such a good person, and her husband are great individuals. So I'm just nothing but happy. And I wasn't watching it. One of my best friends sent me a picture because she knows that I know her. She's like, Nikki just won. So yeah, I just texted her.
That's freaking incredible, man. And I'm a big fan of Nikki. I've been a fan from a long time just because, well, she's a fellow Scotsman like me. I'm from Scotland. I'm half Scottish anyways. So
you don't sound like it.
I know. I sound 150% completely Canadian. I know. I get that all the time. So Rosa, one of the first questions I always ask, I like to call it the defining moment question. It's that moment you remember when falling in love with this business that you and I are going to be talking about today.
I was at this show called Foot Slam, and I was yelling at the wrestlers like there was no tomorrow. And it was like it was once a month, and it was like the moment that I was waiting every month because it was my husband and me, and it was just like so much fun. And that's when I was like, I love wrestling because I didn't used to I watch it, but never liked it. But that was when I was like, this is pretty cool. This is pretty damn cool, you know?
That's a great moment when you can always, I love it how when moments are always can kind of be attributed to being a fan first. Sometimes it's watching a old pay-per-view with a family member or something like that, but being at a live show and getting that involved and making that hook you in instantaneously. I mean, it's electric when you're in the crowd, and for you, you've experienced both sides, from being a fan to being on the other side. You still get that electricity when you walk out there?
Hell yeah, man. I mean, it all depends too. Like now in studio wrestling is every time, and like I get so nervous every single time. I don't know why. Like I start hyperventilating and stuff, and then I open the curtains, and it's just like, I'm still nervous, but you know, I can't show that. But it's just so electrifying.
Well, you don't show it. You walk out there like a complete professional. I was actually in preparing for this interview and doing my research because I have actually been a fan of you for a very long time. I actually started watching Lucha Underground on season 2 when you kind of were added to the cast, if you will, or made your debut when you were originally Cobra Moon. And I freaking loved the whole reptile tribe. I loved all that shtick, that the whole storyline that was done. And I really thought you should have won the Rookie of the Year award. I know you finished second that year, but I really think you should have won the Rookie of the Year award because you just teared it up. There was something about you. You can always tell when there's somebody who's got that it factor, that above and beyond factor. Like there's so many talented wrestlers in the business, but you could tell that you very, very quickly on from seeing your first match, your debut match, I was like, this lady is going to be something that people are going to remember her name, and she's going to tear it up in this business. And you haven't made me a liar, which is fantastic. Everything I said about you from the get-go has been completely true. And it's an honor to talk to you. It has.
Thank you. You know what? It's like I was when I was doing my live feed before my live feed this Wednesday. My husband, we had somebody was helping us with the technology because I'm still not very good at it, and we were watching the YouTube stuff on Lucha Underground, especially the Reptile Tribe, because my friend never seen it before. And then I was watching and I was like, damn, I can actually act, man. Like it was so much different than who I am right now. And it's just like, it was really awesome to like see, like you said, like to see it developed, like the character to when I started to like the end, you know, of the season on the last season 4. But yeah, like I always, that's one of the things that I've tried so hard in the last couple of years is just to like separate myself from that character because I feel like a lot of people from what they watch on season 1, season 2, they didn't really understand the character, and they didn't understand me when they saw me with my face paint. So now with NWA, it's just like it's all me. It's all like Thunder Rosa. So people are kind of like, oh, you were Cobra Moon? I'm like, yeah, I was Cobra Moon, man. What the hell? So, yeah, it's just like, it was such a great learning experience.
Oh, no, it absolutely was. And I've been when NWA came back kind of into the forefront and started doing the YouTube thing, I was hooked instantaneously right away because I'm a big fan of the studio wrestling and that old school 80s feel. And I think what Billy Corgan and everybody at Team NWA, what they're doing over there is so nostalgic, but it's nostalgic in a fresh way. And when you came out that day, I was watching that episode. When you came out and you hit Sienna from the back, I was like, oh, yes. I love the way the setup was. And I actually, before this and preparing for the interview again, I went back, I watched the Hard Times pay-per-view match, and then I watched the match after on the next episode of Power. And I have to say, watching you win the title and hearing the crowd chant Thunder Rosa, like, talk me through that. What was that moment like when you held that belt for the first time?
Like, I mean, as you saw my ugly ass face, I wanted to cry so hard. I wanted to cry so hard, so freaking hard, because it's just like, it was such a special moment. And I was really upset. Well, I wasn't upset, but I was sad because my husband was in there. And that was like a big moment for both of us, because we have gone through hell and back in the last 6 years in this wrestling business together, because I don't think I would have never been able to do something like this by myself, because there was many times in where I didn't believe in myself, like not even a bit. And he'll be the one who'll be like, you know what, clean up your tears, clean up a little bit, get up and keep going. Somebody will see your talent. I see your talent. I know you're talented. These people are stupid, and he'll be pushing me all the time. And it was just a progression of things from 2019. I mean, I did like big strides in my career. I mean, I jumped to MMA, and like, again, it was like one of the most difficult things I ever done in my life, especially physically, mentally, and spiritually. I started questioning myself about everything. Am I good enough for this? Am I good enough for wrestling? Am I going to be able to make it? And just like all that together after having that 20-minute battle in the ring, I was like, holy shit, I survived. And it was just, I feel so blessed, and I feel so like special, because I'm following the lineage of like very important women that have held this title. It's an old title. And the more research I do about it, like the more special I feel. So, yeah.
Well, no, you absolutely should feel special, because you also broke down another barrier and added your own piece of history to this title, because you were the first Mexican-born female to hold that title. That's huge. Congratulations on that, because that's another barrier broken in this evolution of women's wrestling. So tip of the hat to you.
Thank you. And, and again, it's just something that it took 70 years or 80 years to happen. So I'm really proud that, again, Billy, Lagana, and all the NWA team believe in my abilities as a wrestler, as a performer, as an entertainer. And then now I'm holding this title with a lot of respect, and I'm just waiting for all this, craziness to pass, so I can start like promoting NWA and the NWA women's division.
Absolutely, and we can't wait for fans in Canada. I tell you, let Billy know that fans in Canada, we are all about NWA, and we cannot wait to have some of you guys come over. Like I was actually had the pleasure of meeting and interviewing Sienna back in September of last year, and she was fantastic. And then I was able to, again, progress and watch, and then boom, you guys had that match at Hard Times, and I was looking so forward to that pay-per-view. And your match delivered. The best part of that match was at the end when you won the title. I remember Wade Barrett's words very clearly, and his words were, "This wasn't a wrestling match. This was a war," because it was. You two literally threw everything but the kitchen sink at each other. And your MMA background, it shone through, because all those submission holds you were doing, man, you guys made me cringe my face sometimes. 'Cause I'm sitting there going, I don't know how anybody's arms aren't broken right now. You should have broken her shoulder at least 3 times, and she should have done very bad damage to your knee. So how you two walked out of there, it was incredible. It absolutely was.
Bro, I'm telling you, don't even ask me. The next day, I couldn't even move. I swear to God, I was so hurting the next day. Like, so hurting. I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? And then they're like, oh yeah, by the way, guys, you have another match. And I was just like, oh shit. And the second match was just as good as the first one. You know, it wasn't as long, but it was pretty intense. So I think I came out with not a black eye, but I had a couple, like, you know, little bumps in my head. Like, we were like going ham. I mean, every time Sienna and I we get in the ring, we go ham. I mean, sometimes it's really hard to find good dance partners in the ring, and Sienna definitely is one of them.
Oh, 100%. Every time I've seen her wrestle, and you two definitely have that in-ring chemistry. I actually did want to ask you one thing about the matches. A Hard Times pay-per-view, you came out with full face paint, the Day of the Dead face paint, paying respects to the heritage, which I love. But on the following NWA Power match, half the face was painted. Is there some symbolism there? Like, is that like when you come out with the full face paint, is that the complete, like, I don't know, the demonic side of you coming out full force and the half is walking that line? Like, is there any symbolism behind that, or is that just a choice of your own?
I think it's like for full face paint, it's usually like really important matches, really big matches, and Hard Times was definitely one of them. And that's where, yeah, I definitely bring everything that I have in store. And like, that's when, every time I get in the ring or before I get in the ring, I think about all those kids that I help, before I start wrestling. And, when I decided to make like a full-time transition into wrestling, a lot of those kids wish me, you know, luck and everything. And some of them, you know, passed away due to like either suicide, they got killed by the police, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just like they're all with me in the ring when I put the full face paint.
That's amazing. I was so in preparing for this match and watching the matches, preparing for the interview. I was with my 4-year-old daughter, and she's a big fan of the movie Coco. So when you came out, she looked at you and she said, "Daddy, is that from Coco?" I said, "Same heritage, but no, it's not from. It's the same heritage. It's the same, you know, festival and stuff like that. But she's a wrestler." I said, "Daddy's going to interview her tonight." Wow, she's cool. Tell her I like the movie Coco. So my daughter wants me to let you know that she loves the movie Coco. So I'm supposed to tell you that. So I've done that. I can say I've checkmarked that off. And when she listens to this interview weeks from now, when she listens to this years from now, she'll know that I told you. So
yeah, tell her that I cry my eyes out when I watch that movie. I thought it was like the cutest thing ever. It was super sweet.
You can't not cry at a Disney movie, okay? I just watched Onward with both my daughters earlier today, and I don't know if you've seen it. It's the new one with the trolls and stuff like that. Their dad comes back for one day. It's another one of those Disney feels movies. Like, you can't not cry. And it just, you sit there and you look at your kids, and your kids are like, "Why are you crying?" It's like, "I'm not crying, you're crying." And they're not crying because they're still young enough. But I weep like anything that happens with, especially anything fathers and daughters or fathers and kids related, I weep like a baby girl. Ever since I became a dad of 2 amazing girls, it's very hard not to weep as they get older. My 10-year-old now, she's kind of giving me attitude. She's playing video games. She doesn't want to hang out with daddy anymore. And my 4-year-old's daddy's little girl for now. But I know that's going to completely change. As soon as she hits 13, neither one of them will want to spend any time with me. So I'm trying to get as much as I can in now, but it is difficult. It is very, very difficult to try to connect with 2 girls, especially being a guy. But the one thing we do connect on is wrestling. Both of my daughters are fans just like me. And my 10-year-old was watching the match with us, too. And she knows Sienna because she was able to meet Sienna when she came down to the show in Mississauga that we saw her at. But you won her over in that match. And one of the moves she actually really liked was when you went from behind and you did that kind of, I'm not sure what kind of suplex it is, but you went from behind and kind of flipped Sienna over. I almost think it's like a sunset flip, but in a reverse style. Yes. That was in the Hard Times match. Her jaw hit the floor when you did that. Because your guys, like you said, chemistry is hard to find, but you guys really, I find that when you have that close relationship with that dance partner, you go extra hard. And you could see it in both matches, the Hard Times match and the Power match. You guys took each other to the limits, almost to the point where I think both of you never knew which one was going to win because you really were going that hard at each other. I almost thought the hard time match was going to end in no decision when I watched it for the first time, just how hard you two went at each other.
I know. It was, like I said, there was at points and I was like, Jesus Christ, we're going to die. You know, it was so intense.
So talk to me about, let's go back to the MMA side of things. So in deciding to jump into the octagon and kind of hone your skills there, and I know you had the one match, and I believe it ended in a no decision. What was that like in learning that repertoire and training for that style? I mean, to go from the octagon or from the squared circle to the octagon, then back to the squared circle, it's not an easy transition. There's only few that have done it, but I've noticed that you've done it very, very well.
Oh man, I was actually reading my journal the moment I started training. That was actually like I started training full time in June last year for MMA. I was really scared because any opponent that I have like definitely have a lot more experience than I have, because some of them have been doing it since they were young kids. You know, jiu-jitsu and like competitions and stuff. And like the level of training that you need for a fight, it's a very, very different than the level of training that I've done in professional wrestling. One thing that professional wrestling taught me, you know, is being tough, is being, you know, just keep going even if it hurts. You know, it's just like and just endurance and all of that, because my trainers, when I first started in California, they were really tough on me. Like, they're all men. So I'm used to training with men. I'm used to being tossed around. I'm used to being, you know, I have a dog. I'm not going to give up. And I think a lot of my peers were kind of scared that I was going to be scared to get punched in the face, or, you know, because a lot of people crumble when the first punch, you know. And on my fight, after, you know, the 6 months that I had in training, and keep in mind, I was touring the whole entire time while I was in fight camp, which was insane. Like, now that I think about it, you know, I'm like, damn, man, like, there's a lot of time that I didn't, you know, I was like training on my own, and it was really, really hard. But again, it was like my heart was in it, my mind was in it, my spirit was in it, and I couldn't give up, you know, because there was a lot to show. I mean, there's a lot of people that were counting on me, that were going to be there to support me. A lot of wrestling fans that I don't even like MMA, they were there to support me. So, yeah, I mean, it came to a decision, you know, my opponent won, but I feel like I felt like I won. I felt like Rocky, honestly, at the end. It was very interesting, but yeah, man, it takes a lot of mental toughness, and like when you're getting closer to your fight, it's just like, holy shit, like I'm about to like lock myself in there for like 15 minutes with somebody that wants to kill me just as much as I want to kill them, you know. But the fact is, like, how they want to try to kill me, you know. So yeah, it was really interesting. Like I said, I watched videos. I've been like reading all the stuff, like all my feelings, all the things that I was like experiencing during that time. And it's so interesting because now, you know, that we're like stuck at home, it's like, damn, like you just don't realize how important it is to be consistent, and how important it is to, like, you know, when you can, that you have to train. Like, you can't just be slacking, because it just can be taken away. Like, it was taken away from everybody, you know, like the things that we love the most can be taken away so quick. So yeah, I don't know if I answered your question.
No, you absolutely did. It's hard to kind of balance. Like you mentioned that you were touring the whole time while you were training, and it's hard to balance, but you did that, and you did that well. I actually want to touch on something you mentioned earlier in the interview, where you said that you wish your husband was there the night that you won the NWA Women's World's title. You mentioned how you guys had been through hell and back for the last 6 years. Talk me through, not so much the hell and back stuff like that, because I understand about the lawsuit with Lucha Underground and stuff like that, but talk me through that support system, that strength that you two have to lean on one another through all those hard times. Because that's, a lot of people don't realize that being a wrestler in this business is not easy. Having a family in this business while being a wrestler is not easy. I mean, I'm a podcast host, so I don't get it, but I respect it and I understand it, how much you guys give up to entertain us fans. And you don't hear it enough, but we all thank you, because you guys keep us all going and keep us chasing our dreams. If I didn't have wrestling to lean on in my whole life, I don't know where I would be. because every time I had a pretty rough childhood, so every time things got too heavy for me, wrestling was always there. And then I met my wife through a love of wrestling, and then we got married, we had our daughters, our kids are exposed to wrestling. And I want to say a lot of times, as much as I give kudos to my wife for saving my life, because she absolutely did, and I adore everything about her, wrestling also saved my life. Being a fan of wrestling helped me drift away from all the bad and focus on all the great things in this business. So when you have that support system to lean on one another, talk me through that. I mean, talk me through the rough patches and how you two came out so much stronger and so much better now.
I mean, there was like times in where like we didn't see each other because I was training or whatever, and it was just like, and I'll just come and be like, just mad or whatever, and he would just have to like pick up the pieces sometimes, like being away for so long, sometimes it just took a toll. But it was just like the fact that we were able to like come back home and just like talk and like just be supportive and like a lot of the things that he does is like sometimes I train, like, I mean, I was always training, so he'll help me so much with my social media, keeping me on my toes on things that I need to complete, because I get sidetracked, man. I got ADHD. I gotta be moving. I can't be on a computer for too long. Like, I have a lot of things like that. And he'll be like the one who like gets on my shit about doing stuff, And if I didn't have him, there's many times that I would have like missed bookings, forget about like podcasts and stuff. Like the YouTube. The reason why I have YouTube right now is because he's been like begging me to do it for like last 2 years. We would have been already monetized if it wasn't because I'm too lazy to do it, or I was too lazy to do it. And then now it's just like boom, it's like, so it's been like he's kind of like my voice of reason when I'm struggling. When like the many times that I said I want to quit, he's like, you don't want to quit. You don't really want to quit. I know you don't want to quit. You don't want to have a regular job. I already know you, Melissa. So it's the same thing with him. Even when MMA, I look at him straight in the eyes and it's like, hey, say you offer me a contract for MMA. What do you think? He looked at me. I was like, whatever's gonna make you happy. You want to do it? You want to challenge yourself? Go ahead. I'm gonna be here for you. The same thing when I decided to go full time in wrestling. When Lucha Underground money was like, rolling in. He's like, hey, you want to be a full time wrestler? I was like, sure. Okay, this is what you got to do. You got to train though, because you're not just gonna sit in this house and not do anything. This is gonna be your full time job. I'm gonna work, but you need to work too. Just as hard as you said you are. I'm gonna support you. We're on this together. The same thing when I even before that, I was like, hey man, I want to go to college, and he said, okay, you need to apply to the best colleges in California because you're not staying in San Diego. You want to go to UCLA? Go to UCLA. Check it out. He like drove me to UCLA. You want to go to Berkeley? You want to go and see the school? He drove me to UC Berkeley, 9 hours. It was always like, okay, I didn't do this in my life, but you have so much potential that I want to support you so you can do it. So there was always that. And it's been like, the same thing with when he decided to go to school. I was like, I work full time, go to school. It's always been that. Like we always go. We support each other mutually and we push each other. When I don't feel like I'm getting pushed, he pushes me. When I feel like he needs to be pushed, I push him. And that's how it should be in our relationship. And it's just always giving me the freedom to like try and fail instead of saying, no, you can't do that. I mean, if you're gonna fail, Melissa, you're gonna fail. But you can get back up and try again. It's never a no. It's like, yeah, I know you're capable of doing anything you want, even when times are hard, So it's like it has always been like that, and like in this like last month, I think, like I said, it's not only me, but it's like I think everybody's feeling that way. It's just like finding the ways that if, for example, like wrestling is no longer in our lives, how are we gonna move forward? What are the things that we're gonna do together? So it's always like thinking in a positive way, not in a negative way, and always supporting each other no matter what. Because there's a lot of like factors that, I mean, you've seen many relationships don't last because people don't trust on each other, or like you're on the road and then like they're calling you 50,000 times. He's never been that way. Never. He always trusts me. He always knows where I am and everything, because, that's how we build our relationship. And that's very important, because when you have somebody like that, man, in a toxic relationship like that, things don't work out. And something's got to give. Either the person quits wrestling, they quit their dream, quote unquote, or, they leave the person. And we decided that when we got into wrestling, that it was something that we were going to do together. And we've been doing it together, We We created, promotions together. We run promotions together. We used to have Sabotage. We created that together, and then we have Mission Pro Wrestling now. So, and we run together. Like now, I run it, and I let him do what he's the best at doing, and I do my thing. I told him, like, I don't want to wrestle. I want to do something else. And then I'm doing ring announcing, and he, like, does all the other stuff. So that keeps us at margin. It's a teamwork, and that's how, like I said, that's how we, like, build each other up. It's by, understanding our boundaries and our limits, and sometimes, yeah, we bump heads, but at the end of the day, we reconcile, and we just keep moving forward. Because when wrestling is over, I know the person that is gonna be there for me is him, nobody else, but him.
That's amazing. That's absolutely incredible that you guys have that, and I love the united front. I love everything about it. And one thing I do want to mention, when this is all said and done, I'm curious to know when the world kind of gets back to whatever the new normal might be. They lift the travel restrictions, everything starts to move again. Will you be taking the NWA title on a Mexico tour? Will you be able to bring the...
You know what's funny? I was supposed to be doing that in May, and I was just talking to my husband. I was like, hey, bro, like, I talked to a couple of friends in Mexico. I want to go to Mexico City, do some PR stuff, maybe get a match or something. And he's like, yeah, go for it, man. Just do it, And I was just like getting the ball rolling, and this happened. I was just like, man, but you know what? Things happen for a reason. We're going to do it. And even if it's not in Mexico, we can go to, like, Europe. I don't care, man. I'm going to take this championship and, like, defend it as many places as I can. I want to, I just want to, like give it more, this is like me, because it's like you said, I made history. I'm the first Mexican born wrestler to win this championship. I want to go to Mexico and be like, hey, yo, like, guess what? Your girl that was born in Mexico, she's now the NWA champion. And I know it's been that this championship probably was defended once or twice or three times in Mexico City. So it hasn't been defended that many times,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think that would be a fantastic idea, and I know you would tear it up over there. And speaking of who might be next in line, I mean, there's a little bit of a story obviously developing in NWA where we saw things before everything kind of subsided. There's the whole Melina, wondering what her intentions are, and there's your other lady in your faction there whose name is escaping me, and I feel like such a tool right now.
Marty Bell, boo-boo.
Marty Bell. Thank you very much. Marty Bell.
So what's up with them? Yeah, with Melina, it's always about Melina, man. I mean, come on, she's ex-WWE diva.
You don't really trust either one of them.
Well, I did trust her. I did trust Melina. I've said it many times in many podcasts. Like, I feel like she was like a godmother to me. Somebody I was looking up to, and like she was guiding me. And then all of a sudden, she just wants to get on my business because she wants to be the spot. She wants to be part of it. She always wants to be the spotlight on everything, And I think her time has passed. She already had that, and she should. I mean, she should let me shine. She shouldn't be trying to take my shine away. I just got the championship. She already wants like a shot in it. Like, come on, like, you don't do that to people that you say you're trying to help, and it's like trying to manipulate me and stuff. Like, that's not gonna work, And I know Marty. I mean, she feels like she's in between us, but I mean, I'm gonna do everything that is in my power to defend what I have. And like I said, she's trying to get that money out of my lunchbox, man. Like, she can't take money out of there, like out of my family. Hell no. I'm gonna defend this thing, like, like she owes me money. Like, seriously.
So I want to ask, and like I said, I've seen you in so many impressive matches. There's so many that I could list. Even the Ring of Honor stuff that you had done and stuff like that was impressive as well, and the Women of Wrestling stuff that you've been doing on the side as well. I'm curious to know though, if things ever progress with Marty and with Melina, and there's some kind of a three-way setup, like a triple threat or anything like that, will stipulations be involved? I know NWA definitely has a touch of class to it, definitely has the nostalgia and the respect to the old school ways. But if it came down to it, would you be interested in a, woman's Iron Man match or a last woman standing match or a steel cage match? Would you be willing to put your title up in any of those situations? Because I know Thunder Rosa can definitely get hardcore. I've seen it. But I want to know if NWA would allow something like that, just because they try to keep things very nostalgic.
Absolutely, dude. Like, come on, man. Do you think they're going to get in the ring with me? No. A lot of women, and this is a real statement, a lot of women are afraid of getting in the ring with me. Straight up. Because I don't hold back. I'm a fighter, man. Like, I don't hold back. You want to get in the ring with me? Fine, let's get in the ring. Let's see who's the last person in the ring. I'm going to make you work, that's for sure. You're going to earn it. If you're going to get this, you're going to have to earn it before you take it away from me.
Yeah, well, you're intimidating to me. I mean, I love you. I'm a huge fan of you. But, yeah, no, when you come out, you could see the all business, which is why it kind of surprised me when you said you were nervous. But I guess at those points, adrenaline takes over. But when you walk out in that ring, you own it. You command it. And no matter which way the wind blows or which way your character evolves, either if it's face or heel, I feel like it's you through and through. There's not a bad thing about your character. I'm a big fan of the face paint characters anyway, so you already had my heart from the Reptile Tribe to where you are now with the whole Thunder Rosa thing. I just think that you progressively are adding new layers to yourself. They always say characters are yourself just amped up, but I don't think that's the case with you. I think you are Thunder Rosa just with face paint on. I think that that's who you are, just adding the face paint as a layer. Am I wrong in saying that, or do you feel like Thunder Rosa is an amped up version of yourself?
I think it's an amped up version of myself. Thunder Rosa's fearless, completely fearless. I mean, as Melissa Cervantes, I'm fearless in certain aspects. But I mean, there's a lot of things that I do in the ring that I will definitely wouldn't do, in real life. But I think now, like as time progresses, like it is becoming more and more of like an extension of Melissa Cervantes, big time.
100%. I think that Melissa Cervantes is a genuine, fantastic human being, but Thunder Rosa, given the right situation, will rip your head off and spit down your throat.
Absolutely.
Hands down.
Absolutely.
So I have two more questions, and I think we'll wrap it up. My one question is, if there's anybody that you would love to step into the ring with yet that you haven't had the opportunity to, who would that be?
I'm like, wow. There's, Beth Phoenix for sure. I mean, she's just fucking all through and through, like one of the strongest women I've known. And I used to follow her a lot. I used to do some of her mannerisms when I first started wrestling. Definitely her. I would love to wrestle her.
That would be an incredible match. I think that would be a match that would be a progressive match, though. I think it would start off as just a classic match. Then we'd have to amp it up. Then we'd have to finish it with an all-out, war at the end of it all. I think you two would have to settle your things, the 3 stages, and then the final one would have to be a steel cage. Because I think you two would just leave everything out there. It would be a war, hands down, but I think you two would leave 100% everything out there.
Yes, definitely.
And my final question would be, if you had a young male or female fan listening to this, and they looked up to you, and obviously they're a fan of you, and you could give them one piece of advice about this business, what would you say? If they were interested in getting into this business, what would you say about it? Because, like we've said, you've had your peaks, you've had your valleys, you've had your high spots and your low spots, but you've stuck through, and now you're representing the lineage of one of the longest titles ever created in this business, in this sport. And that's a tall tale. Plus, you also created your own history, and you're blazing your own trail by being the first Mexican born to hold this title. What kind of advice or wisdom would you pass on to that young fan?
Not to give up. Like, you cannot give up when things get hard. I think that's the one thing that not only in wrestling, but in life, a lot of people give up when things are really, really hard. In relationships, in school, in your career, and like sometimes, and even exercising, that's so important, when you're getting punched in the face and you're bleeding and like you can't even see, you need to keep trying. You need to finish it. You need to finish what you started.
Amazing. I think that's a great way to cap off this interview. I can't believe almost 40 minutes has gone by. It's been such a great conversation. I could talk to you for another 3 hours. I really could. You're absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
Such a genuine human being. And I want to take this time to officially let you know you are now a member of the Straight Talk family. You have my Skype ID. I have yours. Anytime you want to come back on the show, it would be an absolute honor and privilege to do this all over again with you.
Well, thank you so much. And are you close to Vancouver or not?
I'm actually in Brampton, Ontario, Canada, so I'm close to Toronto.
Okay. Because I'm supposed, if this happens, I'm supposed to be in Vancouver for a wrestling festival they do every year. I have 2 shows there, so you should totally check it out.
I should definitely make some plans to come down, and then you and I can go out. We can have a cerveza.
Hell yeah! It's a taco. It's actually a taco festival.
Oh, tacos are my favorite food. Tacos and burritos. I'm actually a glutton for burritos. I really am.
There are gonna be tacos and burritos and cervezas there, so I'm gonna be waiting there like, what's up, boy? You're at.
Absolutely. I will buy you a taco. I will buy you a cerveza, and hopefully I can make it down if the whole world clears up what it's doing.
Thank you so much for having me in your show.
Thank you so much for taking the time out for me. Again, I appreciate it. You're an absolute pleasure. And tell your husband from me, thank you for reminding you about this interview today.
I will.
All right, you guys enjoy the rest of your WrestleMania weekend. And in a few weeks, like I said, the episode will drop and I will tag you.
Yeah, tell your girls I said that the Coco wrestler said hi.
I absolutely will. I 100% will. Thank you so much, Thunder Rosa. You enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we will talk very soon.
Absolutely. Take care, man.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow. I mean, it sounds cliche. It sounds like I record the same ending message to all my episodes, but man, oh man, that was Thunder Rosa, the NWA World's Women's Champion. I mean, you can't do any better than that right now. And for somebody who's been busting his ass for 2 years, now I am starting to have conversations with even bigger names and bigger talent. And it's just humbling that they're giving me their time, especially during this time period. I can't thank her enough for taking the time out for my show, as I thank all my guests. It was just an incredible conversation. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed having it with her. And what can I say? Just amazing. As always, guys, peace, love, and wrestling. Stay safe, stay home. Hopefully by the time this episode drops, the world will be coming back to a sense of normal. But all we can do is hope, pray, stay safe, social distance, all those things that we've been instructed to do. So, as always, until next week, I'm your host, your boy, George Mackay. Thank you so much for listening. And don't forget to tune in next week. Peace.
Thank you for listening. Tune in next week for another episode on Spreaker, Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and iHeartRadio. Also follow us on Facebook at Straight Talk Wrestling, on Instagram at Straight Talk Wrestling, and on Twitter at _Straight Talk. And for all our merchandise, you can search us on ProWrestlingTees.com.